supportive of her family and supportive of her husband. And I don't know that if she necessarily volunteered for this job, so we don't need to be directing comments at them.
That was President Obama in an interview with the television station KCRG of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, not talking about what he wanted to be talking about, which was how Mitt Romney and other rich investors don't pay what he believes to be an adequate income tax rate, and instead praising his opponent's wife, Ann Romney, because of something that a Democratic strategist said on a cable news show a day before. And this is Power Play, Internet. Welcome to Studio 3. The president is having a bit of a rough lift-off as he tries to get started into the full swing of the general election. It's been a series of rough weeks, and he's opened the door a little bit for Mitt Romney as this goes on. So we're going to talk about how that plays out. Joining us today, your friend and mine, Internet, Ford O'Connell. He is a Republican strategist. He is the leader of the Civic Forum PAC. He is on the red team. He's a pretty big deal. And you know who else is a big deal? And you know who we're lucky to have back with us? I will tell you right now, and I want to make sure I get her title correct. But you know Sally Kohn, and you can read her stuff at sallycohn.com. She's a Democratic strategist. She's a Fox News contributor, and she, too, is your friend, Internet. Sally, how we doing?
Great. Nice to be with you both.
But for the president, we've had, Mitt Romney, if anybody knows how to ruin a good thing for himself politically, it's been Mitt Romney. He has had these moments several times, his NASCAR-owning friends, the cheesy grits. He's had these things where he had good things going, and then he stepped on the line. But we see now in the president for 3 weeks, we had the hot mic with Medvedev about the
flexibility.
I will tell Moose and Squirrel this message. Then we had, and then last week it was walking out on the Supreme Court and then having to reel it back the rest of the week, and then this week it's this. When does Romney get his turn in the dunking booth, do you think?
Well, hopefully not anytime soon. I mean, in all honesty, I do agree with Sally that President Obama is in a very strong position with regard to re-election. Let's be honest, in the last 100 years, 4, maybe 5 incumbents have lost. He has a lot of advantages. But Mitt Romney really couldn't have had a better week. I think what I was most impressed with was how quickly Mitt Romney seized on the unforced error and then turned it in his favor. And he's going to need a lot more of those going forward. And I think that what the general election is really going to be is going to be between two heavyweight boxers, and Mitt Romney's going to have to really fight a defensive fight. And when he sees that opening, like what happened this weekend, he's really going to have to just punch on through and then pivot, turn, and play offense.
Sally, how good is Mitt Romney's campaign team? Are they good? Are they okay? What is your professional horseflesh estimation?
Well, they seem to be getting better. I mean, no question, they played this opportunity, which no one saw coming. They played it just right.
I do think that they did play it a little bit well with independents. I mean, only polling is going to tell us. We had a third-way poll that came out earlier this week that discussed how independents are concerned with fairness versus opportunity. And the way that the Romney campaign spent it is investing in the children.
Now, you needn't, Ford, you
is a way, I'm just saying, playing forward that really, could help them with independence.
Ford, you needn't rely on some third-way poll, because the Fox News Channel, which I'd like to point out all the time, has now a really fantastic polling unit. We have one Republican, one Democrat on each side. They test each other's assumptions and come up with what I believe now is really one of the best polls in the business, on par with NBC News, Wall Street Journal poll. Really good, love it. Anyway, I've said my piece. Kerfuffle maximization is one of the keys. John McCain's campaign stunk at kerfuffling. They were very bad at that stuff. But Ford, give us very quickly your tips for conservative or Republican candidates handling kerfuffles.
You really got to hit your moments and really message well, because at the end of the day, ideas don't win elections. Messaging does, and this election is going to come down to independents and who can really make the best case to Hispanics. And whoever does that will be the next president of the United States.
You dig that, Sally?
Yeah, I do. I also think, in terms of kerfuffle management, there seems to be a hierarchy of kerfuffles. So there's kerfuffles when the candidate themselves misspeaks or says something. Then there's kerfuffles when sort of the candidate's staff misspeaks or says something. And then there's this sort of new kind of kerfuffle that I got to say Republicans have seemed to invent, which is someone that the candidate once upon a time knew or hugged or was at a dinner with or whatever says something, and we try to sort of glom that onto the candidate. Let's at least make it about the candidates themselves and their ideas.
We're running out of time for it, but I
would agree with you, Sally, but a gaffe's a gaff, and you guys hopped all over the Etch-a-Sketch gaff and really pushed us on it. So,
sure,
Mitt Romney never said that.
It was his campaign manager. It was his campaign manager.
All right. Power Play will stipulate that both sides try to attach things, and certainly Eric Fernstrom's closer to Mitt Romney than Hillary Rosen is to Barack Obama. But history tells us that both parties are very adept at making people eat the dog food served up by those people that they have known in their lives. Sally, you are so great, and you are so great to join us today. We hope you have a spectacular weekend.
You too, Chris. Both of you.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Always great chatting, Sally.
All right,
Pleasure.
that's good. Isn't that nice? There was no kerfuffling here. There was no kerfuffling, and I want to stipulate for the record, Internet, neither of these people have anything to do with the political campaigns in their respective parties, so if you didn't like something they said, don't blame Barack Obama or Mitt Romney. This is Power Play. Welcome back, and welcome back to Ford O'Connell, who is a Republican strategist and knows these people, knows how they think. So you have worked with politicians who have succeeded and some who have not succeeded. When you do not succeed, it is very hard sometimes to extricate yourself from your candidacy. Santorum Ford got a lot of plaudits for making his decision to end the run before what would have certainly been a very bruising primary in a swing state. So a lot of praise for Santorum in your party. How does the road play out for him? When does he endorse Romney? When does the wheel spin round?
You know, I think really right now it's up to Romney to sort of extend the olive branch first to Santorum. You know, these things are very exhausting. I don't think that people understand how hard it is. You know, when we lost, when John McCain lost, it takes 3 years off your life. When you win the presidency, it takes 2 years off your life. I mean, I literally slept for 2 weeks. But, you know, and Rick Santorum needs a little time to decompress. He deserves our respect. He got much further than anybody thought. And, you know, it's up to Mitt Romney. But after that time's come to pass, Rick Santorum really needs to help Mitt Romney rally the base, because he's somebody who's really earned a lot of good political capital.
Right. Well, and obviously Santorum's help in campaigning for an endorsement of Romney will be very important, because what Santorum can do is be a vouchsafe for social conservatives that he's going to be bird-dogging Romney and making sure that Romney's not drifting on these issues and abandoning the positions that he embraced in order to win the Republican nomination. How much, though, is money? Money matters an awful lot, and you heard Santorum there telling Greta, I'm just trying to feed my family. Translation, I've been not paid for 2 years, essentially, while I've been running for president, for a year and a half anyway, and his work that he did that is a not lobbyist, and stuff was all on hold while he ran for president. How quickly could a happy landing for Rick Santorum, and say the retirement of his campaign debt, could it speed up his endorsement of Romney?
I think it could speed it up a great deal.
Yeah.
He has a lot of debts, as all the candidates do when they do this, and you know, I think that a meeting with Romney and Romney helping him settle his debt in a way that Romney helped Tim Pawlenty do, I think could come into, you know, be a big ticket item for Rick Santorum, sort of going along with Mitt Romney and also being the right conduit for social conservatives, because one thing Mitt Romney has to do, besides, you know, win over independents, is really shore up the base. If everybody turns out for Mitt Romney, he'll be in good shape. But again, there's a lot of debts and there's a lot of sort of boxes that need to be checked before we sort of have that happy harmony.
Happy harmony, like you and Sally enjoyed in the first segment. Now, Ron Paul's not going anywhere.
No.
We know that perfectly well. He's made no bones about it. He's not running for re-election in his House seat in Texas. He is not in debt. He's got enough money to keep the campaign going, so he's in. But that leaves us with former House Speaker Newt Gingrich, who is running, but has struggled. He looked like he might be able to capitalize on Santorum's departure from the race. He came right out while Santorum was still leaving the while he was leaving the stage at his press conference at Gettysburg. Gingrich was already fundraising off of it. They wanted to get 12,000 donors that day. They got about 3,500 over the next couple of days. What happens for Newt Gingrich now?
Newt Gingrich was never going to be able to take up sort of the void that Santorum left by dropping out of the race. He is in dire debt. I think it's about $4 million.
He says it's about 4.5.
He bounced a check for the Utah filing fee.
Well, now
I'm just saying.
He's got $500.
I understand. He's just in a very financially unstable place, and he really is not adding anything in terms of trying to win the nomination. He's sitting there right now, and it's time for him to sort of shore up his problems and then, gracefully bow out. The question is, will Newt Gingrich do that?
So there's a second place prize in a nominating process, always. Sometimes, as Mitt Romney has proven, it is winning the nomination the next time. But always there is something else. There is for Hillary Clinton, the very prominent role as Secretary of State. For George H.W. Bush, it was the vice presidency of the United States. There are always these things, but there isn't generally too much for third place.
No, there isn't. Rick Santorum won the silver medal, and Newt Gingrich is trying to figure out what is, his political future holds in store for him.
Well, let's just figure out for him, to make it simpler, let's figure out what Newt ought to do. What are the right steps for Newt here?
I think the right steps for Newt are sort of to mend the fences with the party and with Mitt Romney and go from there and try to settle his debts.
Yeah, but you can't raise any money if you're not campaigning.
I understand. He's going to be out there campaigning, but, in trying to do that, he's trying to rent a list. He's trying to do everything really to raise money.
Explain to the
now.
internet what it means to rent.
Well, you go and you rent a list to basically target new donors in the hopes that you can get a fresh infusion of cash. And right now, it's not working for him. Yeah. I think he spent $26,000 on this list, and if he doesn't even capture that back, it's really a losing cost. But only time's gonna tell. I'm trying to be fair to the former House Speaker because he's brought a lot of passion to the campaign trail, and he really put energy at the forefront. So he does deserve a lot of respect.
And there certainly was a moment, whatever else can be said, where we came to realize that Newt Gingrich taught these guys an awful lot about how to run for president, how to debate, and how to keep your tone. And he admitted himself when he was talking to Brit Hume last week in that interview, he erred when he went very sharply negative and got into Romney derangement syndrome, basically, because Mitt Romney makes everybody who runs against him totally bananas. They always, in the end, he drives them up the wall. Gingrich got driven up the wall in Florida, and it hurt him. But to your point, he realized that the tone and tenor that Republicans wanted to see early on, which was not beating each other up but focusing on Obama, right?
Absolutely, and he got thrown off message, and the big point came in Florida. He absolutely went bananas because he felt that Mitt Romney was just carpet bombing him into submission with negative advertising.
And he sure did.
And he sure did. But Newt Gingrich should have known that Mitt Romney won this nomination because he had the best organization and superior resources. And both these candidates taught him a lot. Rick Santorum taught him about not getting off message, and Newt Gingrich really taught him about focusing on energy and debating. If anything, Newt Gingrich made all of the candidates better debaters.
Well, isn't that sweet? Ford is bringing the love today. The internet appreciates that love.
We need the base all in one place.
And that's what the internet says, that Joseph Leonard says the GOP needs to point out and highlight every lie and false representation in Obama speeches and campaign ads. That should be their next step. And All for Jury says the GOP's next move is to put their platform out there and stop being the anyone but Obama party. All for Jury, very interesting idea. We'll have to explore that another time. Ford, I also want to point something out for the sake of the internet. Ford is wearing socks today. Now, you should know, internet, and Ford's mom, if you're out there. Ford has got all his socks look good. It looks like he could be walking into a Wall Street meeting right now instead of just a tailgate at an Auburn game. We appreciate you being with us today, Ford.
Well, thank you, Chris.